July 15th, 2019. Jacobin Magazine. Yes, a planned economy can actually work, by Leigh Phillips and Michael Rosarski. 100 years after the Russian Revolution, a specter is haunting the West, the specter of what the Economist newspaper recently christened Millennial Socialism. Other than that being a totally wacko title, Millennial Socialism, right, we are seeing some sort of left-wing movement, a sort of a response to resurging reactionary movements. We're seeing renewed interest in labor unions, renewed interest in politics from young people. Millennials are very left-leaning, right? Socialists, maybe, maybe not. The specter of socialism. Let's look at this article here from Literary Hub, The Hub. Indie booksellers urge you to resist the siren call of Amazon Prime Day. In solidarity with the Amazon strike, in which the Amazon warehouse workers in a suburb of Minneapolis are striking to protest their terrible working conditions, unions of Amazon workers in Europe have staged strikes on Prime Days in the past, but the walkout in Minnesota represents the first major action of its kind in the U.S. during the aggressively marketed and paradoxically two-day sales event. And just because Amazon Prime Day is one of the most odious recent examples of late-stage capitalism in action, booksellers, and you get the point. Right, I don't want to read you the whole article. I'll link it in the description. Please go read it. I always encourage my listeners to go read my sources for themselves. I hope my bias is expressly clear, right? And I hope you can make your own opinions here. All right? All right, everybody clear here? All right, let's get back to it. So, the internet is threatening small businesses, right? That's the clear indicator here, right? Obviously, there's a corporate element to it. I think the corporations are incentivized to crush indie booksellers, but I think it's something more. I think the primary reason that this is happening, right, is because we are in some sort of a technological revolution. Like, take, for example, this article, this Mud article. This website looks pretty techy. They seem to know what they're talking about. 5 industries the internet is going to kill by 2025 and how it affects you. I'm just going to read the industries here. You can go and look into the specifics yourselves. Again, I encourage you to do so. Cable TV. Oh, you're telling me that places like Fox News and Spike TV and all those old channels from our childhood aren't going to survive? I wonder why that is. You know, who among us is still watching cable television? And the answer to that question is boomers, right? Because the older they get, the more television they're going to ingest. And we're going to see probably one big last surge in cable television before it goes away, right? Because even my father watches Netflix now. He doesn't have cable, and he's in his 50s. So we're not going to save that industry. Next is car dealerships. This one is pretty self-explanatory, I think, self-evident. No one wants to go to a car dealership. Everyone hates car salesmen. People are just going to buy cars online like Tesla tried to do, okay? Taxi services, we all know taxis suck. We all, every time someone says, oh, taxi drivers are striking, all you see are comments on people talking about how much they dislike taxis, okay? Uber is not optimal. That is true. But we are likely to see some kind of large change with that. That's probably going to fix itself, I think. Obviously, we should pay the workers a living wage during this time, right? They should be paid at least a minimum wage. They should get benefits from their employer, right? They should get reasonable leave, all this sort of stuff, maternity leave. They shouldn't be discriminated against. They should get all these protections. They shouldn't be contractors. But eventually their job is going to be obsolete. They're going to be replaced by robot cars, which is going to be a considerable undertaking to modernize the grid, which will create a lot of jobs. So, hey, let's keep that as an option. Next is traditional currency. This one I don't know too much about. I have some Bitcoin, I have some Ethereum, but I don't necessarily know the details of that. But I'm sure you'll all tell me in the comments section below that of course it's Bitcoin, right? So if you have any questions, ask my viewers. I'm sure they'll be happy to answer them. Okay, I'll even look down there too. And then last is grocery store cashiers. Yeah, we all know this is true. Andrew Yang talks about this a lot. He is right on, right? You go into a grocery store, everybody just gets in the super long lines for the self-checkouts, and the cashiers just kind of stand there and don't have a job. Because as we all learn, and especially as Zoomers, those Gen Zers zooming right by you, no one likes to talk to real people. And so that they're done for. And that just goes to prove my point that there's certain industries that we can't save, and that we're going to have to basically allow to glide down. But anyway, like I was saying, I think we're in some kind of technological revolution. I think that it makes that pretty evident because like we saw, back in the day, like the 1800s, right, with the invention of the cotton loom and, the resurgence of replaceable parts, in factories, making blacksmiths obsolete, all that sort of stuff. Huge job loss, but huge job creation and huge quality of life improvements, right? So I think there's something to be said here in both supporting local businesses, but also of course, resisting oligarchic influences like Amazon, especially from infiltrating our government, as they're so prone to do, seemingly, allegedly, while also embracing the convenience and improvements the internet has to bring, right? We have to advance humanity in a way that is able to prolong it indefinitely, as well as better, our ability to, protect the planet, and develop society and better, all these sorts of things. We have to ensure technology continues to prosper, but we have to ensure that labor, is treated fairly and that people are, able to live and survive. So what do we do here? And I think the answer to that is evident in how Amazon operates, right? So it's this massive sort of undertaking with many, many moving parts. And there's no reason why something like that has to be profit driven, right? There's a model example already there for the taking, and you can easily implement it in such a way where, it's a little bit more humane, right? You don't have people like running around the facilities all day, walking like 17 miles because there's not districts in the warehouse for some reason, because, for some reason it's cheaper that they just have people sprint around and fire them so they can't, give them benefits and don't have to pay them the minimum wage that they're being forced to pay them now. There's no reason why something like that can't be adopted in a public model and used maybe to complement the United States Postal Service, right, which could be modeled differently, right? That's the big criticism of unions, is that they can stifle innovation, and we need to find some way to make unions encouraging to innovation, right? We need to find some way to make them work together. Anyway, I'm your ombudsman. Bear in mind, buy local, but you can't always resist the convenience of the 50% off camcorder or microphone, right? So that's all I'm saying. Stay honest. Happy Tuesday.